Am I too old to play soccer? When is it too late to start soccer? If you find yourself asking these questions, let me tell you about my journey on how the beautiful game became my passion as a 30-something-year-old. I'm not exaggerating when I say I love soccer. If I'm not at work, I'm either playing the game or watching highlights of all my favorite teams. And truth be told, I debated on whether or not I even wanted to make this video because I know some of you watching this will think it's cringe, right? An old guy who has no chance in going pro playing soccer is a waste of time. But whatever. I'm old enough to not care about what random people think of me. So here's my backstory. I never paid too much attention to soccer, or as the rest of the world calls it, football. Growing up, I was more interested in American football and the sport of lacrosse. Anyways, back in 2022, I was bored living in Mississippi. Yes, I know, an Asian living in Mississippi, it's weird. Because there's literally nothing to do in that state except sweating from the humidity. So I decided to watch something on Netflix. And as I was browsing, I ended up stumbling upon a soccer documentary called Sunderland Till I Die. I'm not gonna lie to you, the title caught my attention. And let me tell you, it is 100% worth the watch. Even if you don't like the team, it highlights the ins and outs of a major football club and its community of supporters. It opened my eyes on how much excitement and energy can be felt through soccer. And after I finished that series, I watched an Amazon Prime documentary called All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspurs. And that's when I decided I was going to be a Tottenham fan. I enjoy pain and disappointment. Then, the World Cup happened, and since it's a major event, it seemed like a lot of people were talking about it. I did not want to be left out of the conversation, so I started watching World Cup highlights on YouTube, and that was the final straw. I was hooked, and I knew there was no turning back. After consuming hours of content about soccer, I had the crazy but bold idea of perhaps playing and engaging in the sport. Since I'm an older guy, I thought maybe I should be a ref, or maybe I should be a coach. But how could I coach a sport I have never played before? So in 2023, I decided to pick up soccer as a player. I must have been delusional because the first time I ever played soccer, I joined a friendly preseason futsal match between two local teams. I remember when I walked through the gym doors, I thought to myself, there's no way soccer is going to be difficult. Boy, was I wrong. I basically embarrassed myself because I didn't understand the strategy, the tactics, and where to position myself on the court. So after that hot mess, I decided to practice by myself before spring season arrived. And practice I did. Fortunately for me, I was able to find a local amateur football team on Facebook. And I started to play with them regularly 3 to 4 times a week as a complete newbie to the sport, with folks that had played football their entire lives. And it's important to be cognizant that as you see these clips, please do keep in mind that I am a guy in his 30s and most of the lads you see are in their early 20s. But anyhow, I just kept showing up, even though I was a complete beginner. I'll be honest with you, at first, I had hesitations because I felt like I was going to be a burden to my teammates. I knew whatever team I was going to be on for that day for pickup, we were going to lose because they were essentially a man down. And let me tell you, boy, did I make a lot of mistakes, like passing it to the wrong person, missing an open goal shot, and even falling down randomly when I tripped on myself. However, I tried to make up for my lack of game experience and skills with stuff that was in my control. The intangibles, such as hustling, chasing the ball when someone would smash the ball as hard as they could at the goal and miss by 50 yards. But jokes aside, I put time in outside of official team meetings to get the basics down, like passing and receiving the ball, and working on my first touch. And I also studied the game. And since I'm a grown dude, it's easier for me to understand the strategy and the whys on a high level when I review game film. I know when I was younger and I played lacrosse, I didn't have the wisdom that I do now. So it's kind of like a maturity cheat code and it's cool. But basically, by reviewing Premier League matches, I was able to learn and understand where I should be on the pitch at all times, regardless of where the ball is. And most importantly, at the amateur level, what makes a team run circles around another team is their fitness level. So multiple times a week, I would do sprints, zone 2 runs, and have jump rope sessions. As a result, I became a cardio bunny, which is funny because I hate running. I find running to be boring, painful, and time-consuming. But then again, I felt like I would be too heavy to carry on a team if I was bad, slow, and out of shape. So by working on my endurance, it turned out to be pretty awesome because I became the most conditioned person on the pitch, and I had an endless work rate to make up for my poor skills. When everyone else was tired in the second half, I still had energy to keep going, and not to toot my own horn or anything, but that's a pretty cool feeling. The point of this video is, before I initially showed up to the first spring pickup game practice session, and let's be honest, the following 8 sessions thereafter, I tried to talk myself out of it. My head was filled with so much negativity and doubt. I remember telling myself, I am a 30-something-year-old. I am too old to hang with these young 20-year-old kids. It's too late for me to start playing this football thing. But I ultimately didn't allow my negative self-talk to freeze me up. Instead, I channeled that energy to become a student of the game and to make mental notes of where I could improve. Every time I make a mistake, and believe me, I still make a lot of mistakes because I've only been playing now for a year, I reflect and review on what I could have done better. And by doing that, I'm able to implement changes the next time around so that I don't make the same mistake again. Instead of focusing on my age, I decided that my age shouldn't even be a factor as to why I should give up or quit, because there's dudes like Kazuyoshi running around and he's 20 years older than me. And a little something about me is I always reflect on my actions and decisions, because a part of growing as a man is the ability to understand yourself so that you can make the right choices in the present tense. So even though I am usually the oldest player on the field, knowing me, I always remind myself that when I do turn 50 years old, I'm going to look back at my life and understand how young I truly was at 31, 32, or even 33 years old. So take it from me, most people on the pitch will receive you with open arms because it takes bodies to make the game work, and they honestly need you there. Although it's important to keep in mind that a very few players will be jerks to you. What I mean by that is they will actively never pass you the ball, or they might even shout profanity at you. You know, little petty things like that. But I get it. The game gets people heated sometimes because a lot of people that engage in sports are competitive in nature. However, don't let the fear of circumstances like that stop you from trying soccer. To answer the initial introduction question again for the 50th time, you are not too old to play. Now granted, if you are a complete newbie like I was, you might have to spend some time outside of pickup games to practice by yourself. Or at the very least, you might have to hit the treadmill multiple times a week to condition your body and your heart. If you're out of shape, this is a great opportunity to lose some weight. If you are lonely, this is a way to make friends outside of school or work. And if age is an absolute concern to you, depending on the popularity of soccer or football in your area, major cities have age-specific leagues, like over 40-year-olds only, or even 50-year-olds only. So the only excuse to not play soccer is the one you are willing to believe in. And here's the thing, if you're under the age of 25 thinking it's too late to start soccer, my brother, have some faith in that you are at the prime of your life. Our physical prime in setting Olympic records is around age 26 to 27. But looking back at my life, when I was aged 18 to like 22, I was a lot faster and stronger than I am now. But I am not naive. I know that after the age of 30, we do slowly go downhill. But it's not like we are utterly useless at age 35 or 38. I'll soon be turning 33 years old, and even though I'm not as fast as I used to be when I played college lacrosse, I am far from being the slowest guy on the field. What I am trying to say is that you can still play and you can still ball. If you have that dog in you, translate it onto the pitch. I mean, in the words of David Goggins, stay hard. Learn what it means to leave your comfort zone. And in case you still have any doubts, I'll say it again. You are not too old to start playing soccer. Anyways, this is my story so far, and I can tell you I am not finished. I know I'm never going to play in the Premier League. I'm not even saying that I'm good. But what's important to me is, can I become a better soccer player? And can I be a good player in the lower tier amateur leagues? That's what I am trying to figure out. You only get one life, so you might as well reduce the amount of regrets you die with. That's my take on it. With that said, stay safe, and I hope to see you out there on the fields.